Hi everyone. So I realized a few days ago that 2021 actually marks 10 years of this YouTube channel. In 2011, when I started making my first videos on YouTube, it was summer break from school and I had very little experience in music production or video production or music arrangement, and just constantly making music videos and pushing myself to make better music videos is the thing that grew my level of experience. So today I wanted to do something that really illustrates how much I've learned and how much I've grown. I'm going to completely remake one of my oldest videos and I'm gonna bring you along for the process. The video I've chosen is from 2012, so 9 years ago. It's my old cover of Oh Fiona from Adventure Time. If I'm counting correctly, it was my 10th YouTube video on this channel, and I think it'll be a really fun one to remake. I have not rewatched it yet. I wanted to save it so that we could watch it together. So, let's get into it. All right, classic React style, here we go. And hitting play.
I feel like nothing was real until I met you.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so already, the video is clearly being shot in my sister's bedroom because she had a blue wall on one side, a pink wall on the other side, and a green wall on one side, which I'm sure is going to be coming up in one of the shots. Pretty sure I didn't do any color correction because this is very like gray. The wall was blue, but it feels, looking at it, it's like very gray. And oh my god, looking at my face. My face shape has changed a lot and I am thankful for that.
Until I met you.
So, shots of face and then ukulele.
I feel like we connect and I really get you. If I said you're a
there's the
beautiful
green
girl, would
wall.
it upset you? Because the way you look tonight, silhouetted, I'll never forget it all.
Yeah, right there you can see the split between the walls. You can see right there where a couple of the walls meet. You can see the green and the blue and the pink, and that's just corners of the room.
Oh, Fiona, your fist has
my
touched
goodness.
my heart.
Okay,
Oh,
interesting. Looks like I'm leaning in there.
I won't let anything in this world.
Yeah, it's cropped way too tight for my preference. No, I guess not way too tight, just a little too tight.
I won't let anything in this world keep us apart.
And the fade to black. Okay, honestly, rewatching that just now, it wasn't as jarring as I expected it might be, but I can go through a little bit of what I'm seeing just bit by bit. So right from the beginning, even on my phone, you can tell that this is the old camcorder. I don't even think it could film in 720p. Let me see if I can, quality. The highest quality it goes is 480p. So yeah, the next summer, I think in summer of 2013, I did start using my iPhone instead of this camcorder just because my iPhone had better video quality than this thing. I'm pretty sure that at this point, I didn't have any lights except for like open windows in the room or maybe a standing lamp. Oh, what was that? I thought I saw something like a shadow down here. Yes, okay, so there's a shadow that just got cast over my neck, which leads me to believe that maybe I had a light coming from like below almost? Maybe I had like a reflector on the ground because I didn't have a good light source? Huh, that's already a mystery. I will not be putting a light below me to light the remake of this video. That's absolutely not gonna happen. So I used this guitar, I used the acoustic guitar as the acoustic bass. I still don't know how to play bass. I don't have a bass, I don't know how to play bass. And this at the time was like my acoustic replacement for a bass guitar.
Fist has touched my heart.
Okay, I am going to be breaking it down into 3 main areas that I know I have grown and changed a lot because of 9 years of constant experience. I'll be focusing on the arrangement of the music, the audio production of the song, and the video production of the music video. The things I've learned are all born out of trial and error and hundreds of hours of watching tutorial videos and learning what works best with my voice and my style and what my preferences are, what my tastes are. First is arrangement. I've given myself a little bit of time to think it over, to listen to the old version and figure out what I want to do differently with the new version. And the old version was just made up of 5 elements: ukulele, lead vocals, backing vocals, piano, and the guitar that acted as the bass. For my new version, I want to add in a lot more layers. I want to add a lot of atmosphere. The original version in the cartoon had so much like ambient synthy sounds that just filled the space, and I kind of want to emulate that feeling with this new version. I'm layering in a lot more backing vocals, so instead of just the 1 or 2 harmony parts from the old version, I've got more layers of harmony voices to fill out the chords a lot more fully, and I'm also using a lot more backing vocals just throughout the entire song instead of just direct harmonies to the lead, big groups of backing vocals that are helping to fill that big space that I'm looking for in the new version. Instead of using an acoustic guitar as my bass, I'm swapping that out with a synth bass sound. One of the things that was a lot of fun from the original version was like the sliding up and down the neck to kind of get the sliding of the bass. So I made sure to find a synth bass that I could glide from note to note when I needed to. In the original version, Cake pulls out a hammer dulcimer and just starts like playing it at one point. So I wanted to bring in that element and add a hammer dulcimer to my new arrangement, which sounds like this. And then there's also a whole bunch of new synth sounds, new pads. I pulled a few of these sounds from my cover of Everything Stays. That was another one where I really wanted to build the Adventure Time sort of atmosphere. So some of the sounds I used in that cover are also sprinkled throughout this version. I've got this one, and this one. I have this, and a bunch of other sounds all just coming in and out throughout the song, creating this like atmosphere. I've also got a couple layers of strings filling out the sound. I've got cello and violin. And one of my favorite instruments, which I got for free and I use so much now, the Spitfire Labs long strings. So with all those strings, all those pads, all of those synth elements, the ukulele and the piano take up a lot less of the forefront of the arrangement. So I've pulled back a lot of the piano stuff. I played a new piano line and used different piano sounds in different parts of the song, re-recorded the ukulele, re-recorded my lead vocals along with all those harmony vocals. And with all of that, I have so much more stuff to work with than my original arrangement. For the music production of the song, my goal is to make a much more spacious, big, and full-sounding mix than my original version from 9 years ago. And my tactic for that is adding a whole bunch of more ambient sounds and filling out the space, and being aware of what sounds serve what purposes the best. One very easy thing to compare from the old version to the new one is my vocal track. Just like in the old version, I did 4 or 5 vocal takes, and then I comped together the best versions to create the final vocal track. But in the old version, I only applied a compressor, an EQ, and a reverb. In the new version, I did a lot more than that. I started by tuning the vocals in Melodyne. This is a song that didn't need a whole lot of vocal tuning, but when I know I can tune the vocals after the fact, while I'm choosing which vocal takes to select, I can focus on which takes had the best emotional delivery and not worry quite as much about which vocal takes were perfectly on pitch. And then once I've got my favorite vocal takes where I'm kind of paying attention to the emotional delivery, then I can go through and just nudge a few of the notes here or there and make it the best version of my vocal performance that could happen. There are times when you want to lean really hard into the tight tuning and the auto-tuned sort of sound. This song definitely wasn't that, but vocal tuning with Melodyne is something that I do on nearly every song. After the tuning, I have an EQ that cuts off a lot of the low end that I don't need, a compressor, a noise gate to just silence all those moments where I'm not singing, a de-esser, saturation, an exciter, another compressor, and then a reverb. My vocal effects chain varies from song to song, but in general, these are the plugins that I use for most of my YouTube song cover videos, at least on my lead vocals.
Like nothing was real. Like nothing was real.
Another thing that I can directly compare is the ukulele. I re-recorded the ukulele and again did the same thing where I did section by section, recorded it, and then picked out the best takes and comped them together into a ukulele track. For the ukulele, I only did compression, EQ, I did a delay, and reverb. But again, with the EQ, I cut out a whole lot of the low-end frequencies that I just didn't need from a ukulele. And I kind of did that across the board. Like every sound that wasn't bass and that I didn't need low-end from, I did a big cut of every low-end frequency right below the lowest note that instrument plays. In the rest of the sounds that kind of pop in and out and fade in and out, there's a bunch of volume automation, there's some panning automation, and a lot of just sitting at the computer, just experimenting and playing around for a few hours. On the final output channel, I do have a multipressor, which I just started with one of the presets and then played around with it until I had something that sounded good, where some of the low bass gets boosted a little bit and the high end kind of cuts through a little bit better, but some of those mid and low mid frequencies are kind of quieted down down just a little bit to make the rest of the mix a little closer to what I wanted it to be. The very final step is mastering, and I'm gonna be real with you. One of the things that I have learned in the 9 years since my first version of this song is I'm not great at mastering. In my 2012 version of this song, I just threw on a compressor and a limiter and called it good. I have learned a little bit more about mastering and some of the more nuanced things you can do, but truly for basically all of my YouTube song covers that I put on online stores, I just use an online mastering service. These online mastering services were not available in 2012. Just in the last few years, they've gotten so much better and so much more robust and so much more accessible, and they absolutely master a track better than I could, so it saves me time. It's a lot more affordable than going to a professional, and I don't need to get a professional master for every single YouTube song cover I'm doing. I might go to a professional if I want to get an album mastered, or if I'm working on something that I really want that professional touch. But for YouTube song covers, and for nearly every song I've put on the online stores in the last few years, it's been an online mastering service. Now for reference, here's the 2012 one side by side with the final mix of my new one.
Oh, Fiona, your fist has touched my heart.
Once I've finished the mix and the master is taken care of, the next step is the music video. Alright. I do think the biggest difference between 2012 and 2021 will be the quality of the videos. I've gotten a lot of new video and filming equipment since 2012, and I feel like that's going to contribute a lot to the jump in quality. I've got a DSLR camera, softbox lights, I've got a ring light, some LED panel lights, a backdrop frame, and I've gotten a bunch of cloth backdrops throughout the years. It's all been increasing at a pretty slow pace. Like, these softboxes I've had for over 6 years, but there are some other things like this this LED floodlight that I've had for less than a year. But even if I did have all of this equipment 9 years ago, I wouldn't have really known how to best use it. So with this new video versus the old one, I want it to be a little more visually consistent, and that means moving away from the bold blue and pink and green backgrounds. My idea is a darker colored background that'll make me pop out a little more. I've set up this purple cloth backdrop that I got from my Drift Away cover a few months ago, and if I light it with the LED floodlight, I'm thinking I can get a nice colorful gradient happening. And on myself, I'll do some sort of 3-point light setup with the softbox as my key light, another light further off to the side as a fill light, and an LED panel above and behind me as a rim light. And when I'm filming a video like this, I just sing along to the sound coming out of my speakers. None of the audio that's captured during the filming is actually going to be in the song. I already finished all of that. So once I've filmed my vocals, my backing vocals, the ukulele, and the keyboards, it's time to edit. For at least the last 6 years, I've been editing on Final Cut Pro, and with this video, one of the first things I did with these shots was some color correction. To add contrast, I bumped up the values of the midtones and the highlights, and I lowered the shadows and played around with it a little bit until it looked good to me. I also bumped up the saturation, and now that I've brightened up these shots, it brought out a lot of graininess, especially in the darker parts of the shot. You can see right there, there's so much grain. So I used one of my favorite plugins that I love for situations like this to get rid of some of the grain in the shot. It's called Reduce Noise by Neat Video, and basically you just pull it in, highlight the area of the shot that has the grain, it'll do an automated grain reduction. I'm so happy to have this tool to really smooth out some of my shots for times like this when I filmed in low light but didn't have to sacrifice the shot because it got too grainy. Another thing I noticed while I was editing was right here in these piano shots under my hand, there's a bright spot where the purple backdrop cut off, and it felt just a little too distracting. So I made a layer of dark purple that matches the very bottom of the backdrop, and I masked out a shape to just cover the area that was too light. I feathered it out to make it blend, and the final result is just that it gets rid of that small distracting spot. It helps guide your eyes toward the focus of the shot at the center, which is the hand on the piano. And with the editing done, that's it. So here it is, my final version of Oh Fiona and what 9 years of video making progress can look like.
I feel like nothing was real until I met you. I feel like we connect and I really get you. If I said you're a beautiful girl, would it upset you? Because the way you look tonight, silhouetted, I'll never forget it. Oh, Fiona, your fist has touched my heart. Oh, Fiona, I won't let anything in this world keep us apart. I won't let anything in this world keep us apart.
Thank you so much for watching. This new version of Oh Fiona is already available to stream and purchase on all the online stores. If you want to support me, sharing this video and sharing this song is one of the best ways to do it, but the absolute best way to support me is to become a patron on Patreon. If you're a patron, you can get access to my videos a day early, you can get free MP3s, you can get your name at the end of my videos, all kinds of cool stuff like that. Check it out in the description at patreon.com/JacobSutherland. I really hope you liked this. Let me know what you thought of the old version in comparison to the new version. Let me know if I should give this treatment to more of my old videos, and let me know what you want to see next. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you with my next video. Bye!